Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters video. Alright, let's go ahead and let's do one more entry here and then I'll wrap up this series for this go around. Don't worry folks, I'm going to definitely come back to this series later on. I'm just going to do some other playlists out there. Thank you so much everyone for your suggestions as well. This one actually comes loosely from a new suggestion. I tried to find the original suggestion but couldn't see much information on it, but it did lead me to this cryptid. And then when I saw that it was tied to a lumberjack cryptid, one of my favorite topics, in fact I have my own playlist associated with it. Check it out when you have a chance. You'll see my playlist on the homepage for it. I thought, why not share this here and have a great send-off. This is definitely one of the saddest creatures you will ever see, and more on that here in just a moment. But you're looking at it right now, has a very sad history as well. It's known as the Squonk. So let's go ahead and let's talk about all the information linked to this lumberjack cryptid, and then I'll give my own thoughts and opinions on it as well. So here's essentially what the Squonk is. Like most other lumberjack cryptids, this is something that's tied to almost like a folklore status. It was something that originated during the late 19th century. So again, somewhere there with the other tales involving lumberjack cryptids, it's all about almost like the settling of people as they were moving out west and so on, specifically those that were in Pennsylvania. You have to go to Pennsylvania, northern Pennsylvania, at an area called Hemlock Forest, and that's where you'll find this creature. So those of you that are on a local level, especially if you know that area, Hemlock Forest, let me know. Maybe you might even take a trip one there sometime soon. And who knows, you might run into this creature. But once again, it's tied to a folklore area, specifically with the timber and hunting industry once people were settling out there. But the way the story goes with the appearance of this creature is this. This is what makes it so sad. So imagine something about the size of a pig, and it has this skin that is by far some of the most ill-fitting, loose-hanging skin ever. And so imagine something that was just completely inflated, but then quickly deflated, but a lot of it is still hanging around in certain areas. That's essentially what this creature has. And it leads to this. This ill-fitting skin has apparently a bunch of warts that are associated with it. And these warts cause this creature to be very, if you can believe it, self-conscious. Apparently it knows it has the skin that looks pretty hideous, at least to its opinion. And then also it has these warts that are just completely covering its entire body. And this is a creature that is so ashamed of it that it decides to hide. In fact, it spends most of its time hiding, but the closest that you'll have to be able to find it there, let's say in the Pennsylvania Hemlock Forest area, is you can hear it crying. Apparently, this is a creature, again, that is so embarrassed and ashamed about its appearance. It does not like its existence at all. It realizes how, like a bird's term, how ugly it looks. Again, subjective, just pretty much just what it thinks. But it hides so often, you can only find it really by crying. But when you do, that's when this thing takes another weird and almost sad turn. Anyone that tries to capture this creature, and let's say it gets to the point that it's cornered and it cannot escape whatsoever, it apparently starts crying so much that it turns its entire body. In other words, the tears start flowing so much that its entire body becomes a pool of tears and bubbles. That's right. Apparently it dissolves right there in front of people. And so when that happens, its entire body just turns somehow into these tears, and then it's gone. In fact, there was a story of a guy by the name of J.P. Wentling, who apparently was a hunter. He was there in that area, and he was able to corner one of these squonks. And when he did so, he caught it in a bag. Who knows if it was sleeping, or maybe he did something else to at least temporarily cause it to be captured. But somewhere along the way, as he was carrying it home, he realized that the bag started to get lighter and lighter. And so when he looked, that's when he saw all of a sudden that he no longer had the squonk within this bag. Instead, there was just the liquid tears of this animal. It had apparently realized this situation, and it started crying so much that it turned once again into just a pool of tears. This creature was also chronicled in a book. It was in a book by William T. Cox called Fearsome Creatures of the Lumberwoods. This was written back in 1910, and within it there were some passages associated with it. And there was also a update for this creature actually back in 2015. So how about that, right? Almost recent. And there was a book also called Fearsome Creatures by Hal Johnson, and in it was actually described more along the lines of a pig. So remember I was mentioning earlier something about the size of a pig? Well, this entry almost seems to indicate that it is a version, or maybe even a pig itself, a pig that is covered in warts, has these ears that are deformed, that are just basically cauliflower ears. It has this entire hair and so on just covered in wax. It has these ugly tusks that are just yellow and then crooked, and then of course its eyes are there and they have this almost like beady look to them, and then it's so much in tears, always having these constant tears. And this type of misery apparently is what causes this creature its daily life. It wakes up sad, and then it spends the entire day just basically sad as well. And then it ends the night just going to sleep, very sad too. And then this version actually lives in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. So let me know if someone knows that area as well, if this is something that is basically tied to the world of cryptids for this squonk. Love to hear what those thoughts are as well. But overall, what do you think? Just one of the saddest creatures yet. It thinks that it is so horrible. Again, just something that is just so disgusting looking. It's thought, not mine in other words, that it spends the entire day and everything else, its existence, just basically living out a life in tears. And then when it's cornered or it realizes it's doomed, then it just cries so much that it turns into a pool of tears. Quite possibly the saddest creature ever found. If you're wondering too, one last thing, like essentially how it's able to reproduce, apparently, it's something along the lines of binary fission, whatever that is. And one last thing too, how about this? It was actually chronicled within the band Genesis. They have a song there where they dedicate a portion of it to Squonk, and they talk about its sad life. So even though it has one of the most saddest existences ever, at least it was able to get into the band Genesis, into a song, and they recognized its existence. But let me know what you guys think. Please post those comments below. And again, check out my playlist associated with Lumberjack Cryptids, one of my favorite subjects. And so you'll see some of the other past ones I've had listed as well. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care.